We are now 4 episodes into the Acolyte, and I continue to feel my will to live decrease. However, I wanted to do something a little different with this portion. We see a lot of bad coming from Disney, and usually that's what the algorithm thrives on, talking shit, because as long as Disney keeps making shit, we can continue to talk about it. But at the same time, I see some of these YouTube channels talk about how they feel about Star Wars and how they're starting to give up on it in general. I've seen a couple people say that even the original trilogy looks bad to them now. And I'm here to tell you guys that it doesn't have to be that way. There is still good Star Wars. There's plenty of it. In fact, there's so much in Expanded Universe, you can spend the rest of your life just reading that. I have been on an audiobook journey through the original Expanded Universe, and I've made it through the Jedi Academy series onto iJedi, which is where I've left off at. And that's barely scratching the surface of the EU. I haven't gone through the New Jedi Order. I haven't made it through the Yuzong Vong War. There is so much left for me to experience. So I wanted to do this section called Palate Cleanser. This section is where we will take a break from whatever dog shit Disney's putting out at the time to lighten the mood a little bit, cleanse our palates with something good. So for the Acolyte, this episode of Palate Cleanser is going to be about the Darth Plagueis novel by James Luceno. Also a book that takes place during the High Republic era. Also a book that's about a secret dark side organization. Except this one is done so much better. Following the story of Darth Plagueis, also known as Higo Damask in the Star Wars universe. Damask is a very wealthy member of the Mune Intergalactic Commerce Guild, or the Banking Clan, as some of you might know.
The Banking Clan will sign your treaty.
Plagueis novel starts off with Darth Plagueis under the tutelage of his master, Darth Tenebris. It covers how they follow the rule of two and how they are the original descending line from Darth Bane, how there are only supposed to be 2 Sith Lords in existence at any given point in time. There are plenty of other Darksiders who show up in the book, like Darth Venemus, Darth Maul. There's even a crime boss who also uses the Force, who is a Darksider. Basically following him around his day-to-day routine. It shows how he discovers Palpatine, how he starts nurturing Palpatine and becoming a Sith Lord. The book covers the machinations of Darth Plagueis leading up to what eventually becomes Order 66 and the creation of the Galactic Empire. You get to see how all politics, subterfuge move behind the scenes. You get to see all of the events that lead up to the beginning of the Phantom Menace. Everything in the Phantom Menace can be explained through the Plagueis novel, which is why I kind of consider the Plagueis novel like a necessary supplementary material before you watch the Phantom Menace. I enjoy episode 1 so much more now because of the Darth Plagueis novel. It explains everything, and it makes everything so much more entertaining. Obviously, when it first came out, people had no idea what they didn't give a fuck about. No one cares about trade routes or intergalactic commerce, but this book made me care about trade routes and intergalactic commerce. You get to see the subterfuge. You get to see how Plagueis lobbies different senators to get different things done, how he does business with the Hutts and the Malastarians and Black Sun, and how things get moved behind the scenes, and you get to see how people get manipulated into where they are in the prequels. So you get to see Dooku during his fall. You get to see how the Neimoidians came to be in service to Darth Sidious. You get to see how Chancellor Valorum got put into the position he needed to be kicked out of the Senate because he dispatched Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan without the Senate's permission. And that's one of the main reasons why he got kicked out. This novel is the High Republic done right. This is how you write a good villain. I want you guys to hear this real quick.
Let me explain what is happening to you, Plagueis said. The cells that make up all living things contain within them organelles known as midichlorians. They are, in addition to being the basis for life, the elements that enable beings like me to perceive and use the Force. As the result of a lifetime of study, I have learned how to manipulate midichlorians, and I have instructed the limited number you possess to return to their source. In plain basic, Varuna, I am killing you. Varuna's face was losing color, and his breathing had slowed. Bring me back. I can still be of service to you. But you are, Your Majesty. A celebrated ancient poet once said that every death lessened him, for he considered himself to be a brother to every living being. I, on the other hand, have come to understand that every death I oversee nourishes and empowers me, for I am a true Sith. No better than an Anzati. The Brain Eaters. What does better than mean to those of us who have passed beyond notions of good and evil? Are you better than Bon Tapalo? Are you better than Queen Padme Amidala? I am the only one fit to answer the question. Better are those who do my bidding. Plagueis placed his hand atop Varuna's. I'll remain with you for a while, as you meld with the Force. But at some point, I will have to leave you at the threshold to continue on your own. Don't do this, Damask. Please. I am Darth Plagueis, Varuna, your shepherd.
So good. Now, as far as consuming this, you can obviously read the book, which I 100% recommend. I personally have been doing my little expanded universe journey through audiobooks. Random House Audio does really good quality audiobooks. They have soundtracks and sound effects, and the people who read them usually do different voices that make it seem like you're listening to a movie being told you. This one is narrated by Daniel Davis, who does a fantastic Plagueis. He's the one we just heard during that little snippet. That was from the audiobook. There are plenty of other these really good books, like you can read the Death Troopers novel, which I honestly is probably one of the best audiobooks I've heard from Star Wars so far, because it's genuinely terrifying hearing a zombie story where you can hear creaking in the walls and screaming in the distance and pounds of flesh just moving through hallways while you're listening to someone narrate. That's another novel that we might do if they try to do it in the future with Disney. This novel might end up being a future palate cleanser, but that's an honorable mention right now. Darth Plagueis is a wonderful book. It is a vastly superior story to what we're seeing in the Acolyte right now. I just wish someone on the freaking writing staff for the show read this book, because then they'd have a general understanding of how you can't just create life. It took Plagueis forever to understand how the midichlorians work and how to manipulate the Force, and you get to see his struggle in this book. This isn't a sponsor video. No one's paying me to do this. I just wanted to do this as an extra mode of content because there is still good Star Wars. There's plenty of good avenues you can go where you can enjoy the story in a galaxy far, far away without having to hold your nose and dig your head into whatever shit Disney plops into your lap. In fact, there are even a few good Disney canon era books. Like, it's all of their main screen stuff that's been garbage. There's still plenty of good books. You've got Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. You've got the new Thrawn trilogy, which is pretty freaking good. You have the Tarkin novel. There are still good Star Wars stories even in the stupid Disney canon, because people who write books have to actually make sure everything makes sense, to tie their own plot holes together. It's much harder to write a book than it is to write a screenplay, because you can just write a screenplay and forget about it. But books, you have to actually tie everything together to make it make sense and make it long and make it detailed. You have to know what you're talking about. Mostly it's just James Luceno novels. All the James Luceno novels are all really, really good. There's also another James Luceno novel from earlier on called The Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, which is the good Darth Vader story that they should have done for Tales of the Empire, but they didn't do because Disney doesn't know what they're fucking doing in their animated projects. But now I digress. I hope you enjoy this palate cleanser and you have a better understanding of the other options you have out there. You don't have to deal with just this. Why did they think that was a good idea? I don't know. That concludes the first episode of the Palate Cleanser. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this is a better idea than just being negative and shitting on the new stuff all the time, because they keep giving us crap, sure, but there is still so much good Star Wars to absorb. You don't have to subject yourself to whatever slop they put on Disney Plus. There are still plenty of good books. There's still plenty of decent comics you can read. There's still shows you can go back to watch. It's not all bad. And there are even still Disney era books that are actually pretty good. They're not all awful. They're not all the Acolytes. Keep your heads up. We'll be back for episode 5, and depending on how I feel for 5 and 6, we might just do a second palate cleanser, just because we might need it. Hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll see you all next time.